Good morning. My name is Marilyn Nash, and I'm coming to you this morning from my backyard, a place that gives me joy and comfort during these difficult times. I welcome you to our virtual service. I serve this congregation as administrative assistant and have been a member here for over 24 years. We've seen many developments and changes through the years. And then on March 15th, this fellowship entered the new age of temporarily online-only worship, necessitated by the coronavirus pandemic. We did this with the intention of flattening the infection curve, reducing the spread of the coronavirus, and saving lives. Our staying home and social distancing is a part of our spiritual work. And so now, in keeping with our governor's executive order, we are extending the time frame of the closure of our buildings to our normal activities until June 10th. It is a challenging time, a time we never imagined facing, a time of learning, a time of finding new ways to do things as a congregation. Welcome to this morning, this day, and this opportunity to come together virtually. In celebration of the community we are, we thank you for joining with us for this service. This day, this time, is a time of joy and comfort, always aware of the challenges that surround us. This Unitarian Universalist congregation is a community that seeks to learn more about being human. We haven't figured out all of the questions, and we invite you to continue your learning and growth with us, for now in this virtual format. Let us move this worship honest within ourselves and open to connection in all its forms.
Our chalice lighting words this morning are words that are very familiar to us, words that we use quite frequently in our in-person services. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our power, to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. This morning I have selected words of affirmation written by Margaret Wise and altered just ever so briefly to reflect more the fellowship we are as opposed to the big downtown church with the spire that is described in her words, original words, but as her basic affirmation. Our fellowship is not a place, it is a people. Our fellowship is not only a low-slung building next to a two-story house in the tree streets. Rather, it is a people proclaiming to the world that we are here for the work of healing and justice. Our fellowship is not walls built of brick and frame, sheetrock and plaster, but rather person linked with person linked with person, all ages, genders, and abilities, a community built on the foundation of reason, faith, and love. Our fellowship is not just a set of doors open on a Sunday morning, but the commitment day after day and moment after moment of our hearts creaking open the doors of welcome to the possibility of new experience and radical welcome. Our fellowship is not simply a couple of buildings, a stained glass window, and chairs we can arrange in rows or in the round. Our fellowship is the gathering together of all the people and experiences and fear and love and hope in our resilient hearts, gathering however we can to say to the world, welcome, come in, lay down your heartache and pick up hope and love. For our fellowship is us, each other, every one of us together, a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs it. The big change that has happened since last time we gathered this way is that the governor has given an official standing to the stay-at-home orders that were merely suggestions, strong suggestions, but suggestions before that. I would like to read a blessing for those staying home, written by Linda Barnes-Feel. For those staying home alone, I offer you this blessing. May you grow a deeper understanding of your own worth. Dear one, leaven the aloneness with gentle care, for this too shall pass. May you be blessed with a peace and serenity. May you find the courage to reach out to hear another's voice and to remember others need you too. May you be well. For those staying home together, I offer you this blessing. May you find moments of patience and grace in your relations. May you offer each other enough time apart, reassurance and space enough to cry, to safely rage, for this too shall pass. Then let peace come again into your home. May you see one another's whole self as a gift. May you be well. For those working from home, I offer you this blessing. May you remember to take breaks. May you find the means to relish your imperfection and the imperfection of others as evidence of your shared humanity. You are enough, even when there isn't enough. Make order in your days, and then let it go. May you be well. For those staying home with children, I offer you this blessing. May you find humor and compassion in your days. There will be learning of a different kind, deeper, no doubt, unexpected for sure. May there be patience and forgiveness again and again and again, for this too shall pass. May you all remember the deep love that brought your family into being. May there be peace and understanding in your home. May you be well. May we all be well.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
Each Sunday as we come together, we share our joys and sorrows with each other, the things in our personal lives that hold great meaning, both things that harm us and that we feel pain in relation to, and things that are celebrations for us. And I have invited you and continue to invite you each week to email me your joys and sorrows to share in this way in this service. Mary Beth Nolde writes, I have an early joy for Sunday. Our grandson Miles' test results are negative. He does not have the virus, and we are so relieved, to say the least. Thanks to all who have kept us in your thoughts since the announcement. Last week, after I had recorded the joys and sorrows, George Thompson wrote, my niece Jennifer and her partner Denise are in quarantine for the virus in Georgia. They are in their 30s. Sharon Van Name writes, my daughter-in-law, Amanda, is a nurse in a dialysis clinic which has several COVID-19 positive patients. After developing symptoms, she was tested and told that she does not have the coronavirus, but she does have pneumonia. She is on antibiotics at home. Please keep her and your the whole family in your thoughts. Jim Calhoun writes, we are very happy for all the support and good food people have shared with us in a trying time. As you may know, I am laid up with a second foot entombed in a cast, one that allows me hardly to stand, and it has been hard for Elaine to keep up. Julie Karen writes, I will share my sorrow that my grandmother, Josephine West, passed away Tuesday, March 28th in Johnson City, Tennessee. My mom and uncle were fortunate to have the clearance to be with her at the hospice during her final days. Grandma left peacefully and unafraid at age 93. Our family will come together for her funeral once everyone is allowed to travel again. Let us hold these joys and sorrows and all that were not submitted for sharing in this way, but that we hold in our hearts. Let us hold them together in a time of quiet reflection.
Pantoum for the Seventh Day by Rachel Barenblatt. Step into the water. You can't see the far shore. Is the foam rising or receding? Take a deep breath and keep walking. You can't see the far shore. There's no knowing what's ahead. Take a deep breath and keep walking, cultivating faith in your body. There's no knowing what's ahead. That is what the sages mean by cultivating faith in your body. Can you trust that you'll make it? That is what the sages mean by the water is wide, I cannot get o'er. Can you trust that you'll make it? You are not crossing the sea alone. The water is wide, I cannot get o'er. The only way out is through. You're not crossing the sea alone. Sing with me as we make our way. The only way out is through. Is the foam rising or receding? Sing with me as we make our way. Step into the water.
There will be better days. There will be better days. There will be better days. There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
I am already under.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
I am already under.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
I am already under.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me. Let the wave wash over me. Let the wave wash over me. I am already under. Let the wave wash over me. Let the wave wash over me. Let the wave wash over me. I am already under. Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
I am already under.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over me.
Better days.
I am already under.
There will be better days.
Let the wave wash over
There will be better days. There will be be better days.
There will 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 be better days.
This Wednesday evening, Passover begins, the holiday when Jews around the world celebrate the ancient deliverance of their ancestors from Egypt, that narrow place, deliverance from slavery into freedom. The first 2 nights of Passover are the occasion of Seders, the ritual feasts of freedom that are held in people's homes and sometimes in their synagogues. But no sooner had we entered the period of preparation for this most celebrated of all Jewish holidays than the air was filled with an ironic question. How is this Passover different from all other Passovers? Pretty much every year, we can count on people using their creativity to make commentary on what is happening in the world by parodying the Passover Haggadah, the playbook for the ritual that is the Seder. Since President Trump was inaugurated, there have been annual installments of a satiric Kushner family Haggadah, which uses the symbols of Passover to critique the current presidency. This time around the sun, the parody that stands out to me is called the Corona Haggadah, a Passover Haggadah for this new age of plague. Its author is unknown, and it begins like this. The centerpiece of the Passover table is the Seder plate, which holds a shank bone, parsley, lettuce, horseradish, a roasted egg, and haroset, a mixture of apples, walnuts, and wine. But Instacart can't find any of that. So, moving on. Look, nobody likes Manischewitz, but it's all we got, okay? Bottoms up. Near the beginning of the Seder, we perform a ritual washing of hands. Seriously, go wash your hands. No, don't just splash them. Use soap, you maniac. Scrub, scrub. Now, sit 6 feet over there. It goes on like that in a humorous vein, reflecting the ways life as normal just ain't a-happening this year. Even when it comes to our most cherished traditions. And so people have adapted, figuring out how what is most important in the Seder can take place at a distance. Many are planning on using conferencing software like Zoom for people to be present around the table that they can't sit at with those they love. Of course, there is no virtual replacement for Bubby's brisket or Lakschenkugel. Other people will be alone in the room without even that contact this year. This year, I will not be sharing with anyone my Sephardic orange almond cake made with almond flour. It is a favorite that I often contribute to a Seder table. I will be neither host nor guest this year. But as important as all the symbols are, as commanded as the various rituals are for those who observe the tradition, the key to Passover is a little detail included in the standard Haggadah. Each person is supposed to experience the story of oppression and deliverance as their own story, not as a historic or imagined creative narrative of ancient times. The whole point of the Passover tradition is to experience narratively what is distanced and even unimaginable for many, many modern people. We can hear echoes of this story in the spiritual singing of enslaved African Americans. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. We can experience it again in all the movements for greater freedom, for greater equity that have sought to move the moral arc of America and the world toward greater justice. Now, if we have experienced privilege of inherited identity, this can be hard to imagine, especially, thinking of this as our own story, to place ourselves within it. How can we do that from a place of privilege? It is also not so hard to imagine for all who continue to live under oppression and inequity, whose family stories of oppression are not that distant and perhaps even ongoing. And people who have grown the seeds of empathy in their hearts can imagine as their own the story that their own families have not experienced. It is a human story that aims to speak across divisions of identity and experience. Open yourselves to it. This Passover that is different from all other Passovers may be a very well-suited medium to the message. We self-quarantine in varying degrees of trust in the growing scientific knowledge of this virus and in epidemiology generally, with determination, concern, worry, or fear. Behind our doors and practices we trust, or at least hope, will protect us and those we love. We feel temporarily not so distant from that ancient story. In that story, the pivotal moment comes as the enslaved people are warned what to do by their leaders who have access to better knowledge than others have. How can they escape the last and most devastating plague, the plague that will affect even Pharaoh's household? Mark their doors with a symbol of protection and stay inside, doors and windows closed, until the danger passes. Self-quarantine. From Chicago, progressive non-denominational Rabbi Lizzie Hademan observes that while the ancient self-quarantine was for protection of one's own family, now the charge is stay in your house to keep other people's families safe. Yes, this is about your family, but it's also about public health. From Los Angeles, modern Orthodox Rabbi Elazar Muskin reminds us that the first law of Passover is not a ritual law. It's caring for those in need. If there's any lesson during this time, it's worrying about the we, not so much the I. That's why the hoarding that happens is so amoral, selfish, and inappropriate. Harvard theologian Harvey Cox, who, when I was a young adult, was a favorite of mine, writes about Elijah being the perennial no-show at the Passover Seder. The door is open for him, and he's never there. That's the lesson. The lesson isn't that Elijah is going to come. The lesson is that you're going to open the door and there's no Elijah. So now what are you going to do? What are you going to do to bring the world even just a little bit closer to the justice and equity we hope for? These are lessons of Passover that can sustain and encourage all of us from every tradition in the times we now live, and always. Imagine the ancient story as your own and live accordingly. Amen, and blessed be. We are on a journey. We didn't plan it. We didn't have time for the bread to rise. We may find ourselves in the wilderness hungry and thirsty, doubting that we should have ever come, but look around. We are not alone. It is our journey together, a journey to our better selves, a journey to a better world, a journey to a more promised land. Amen, and blessed be.